Hi everyone, today we are in lesson 7.8 and that is on page 297 in your colored math books. So today we are going to learn how to do subtraction with renaming. How can you rename a mixed number to help you subtract? How can you rename a mixed number to help you subtract? Let's see how they're going to want us to do this. We're going to start with unlocking the problem. Let's pull out the problem. Bruce, Chandler, and Chase go bike riding on weekends. One weekend, Chase rode for 3 hours. Chandler rode her bike for 2 hours and 2 1/4 hours. And Bruce rode his bike for 3 3/4 hours. How much longer did Chandler ride her bike than Bruce did? All right, so let's underline. So we need to know how much longer did Chandler ride her bike than Bruce did. We know Chandler rode her bike for 2 1/4 hours, or 2 1/4. You can say it either way. And Bruce rode his bike for 1 3/4, or 1 3/4 hours. All right, now that we know our information and we know what our question's asking, I'm going to slide that over. What they want to do is we're going to have to subtract, because we're going to have to find the difference between how much Chandler rode and how much Bruce rode. We really didn't even need to know about Chase riding his bike for 3 hours. That was just information that they're trying to use to try to trick us. All right, so shade the model to show how long Chandler rode her bike for. All right, so she rode it for 2, so 1 is right there. 2, we're going to go all the way up to here. 2 and 1/4. And Chase rode his bike for 1, right there, 1 3/4. So there's 1, so there's 1 1/4, 1 2/4, 1 3/4. All right. So what we have to think is, what is the difference? How much more did she ride? So she rode right here, these 2 sections, which were 2/4. So Chandler rode her bike 2/4 of an hour. We could also say that could be, can we reduce that, simplify it, or divide by 2, divide by 2, you get 1/2. Perfect. All right, next, let's try this one. So we got that. We drew a picture to help us with that one. So let's try another one, trying it another way. All right. And that one was kind of simple because you could see the picture, but sometimes it's hard to draw pictures. So just be careful with that, guys. All right, next, rename the first mixed number and find the difference between 5 1/8 minus 3 3/8. Okay, the problem here is when we are adding this up, or I'm sorry, subtracting it. Let me write it like this so you guys can see this. Whoops. Okay. The problem is, now that we're going to subtract this, 1 minus 3. Can we do that? We can't take 1 minus 3. But the bigger number here is definitely the 5 1/8. 3 3/8 is not bigger. 5 1/8 is definitely larger. So it's kind of like when you do subtracting, you have to go next door, borrow some sugar, borrow whatever you want to say, and you have to put it to this one. So I need to go next door and borrow something. So what I'm going to do, kind of like how we did with when we added it yesterday or in the lesson from before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out that I'm going to take a whole part away from here, and I'm going to put it right here. So we have 4 plus 1, which 4 plus 1 equals that 5. But we're breaking it apart because we need this one to put over here. So 4 plus, we want to make this now a fraction. We want to take that 1 and make it a fraction. So I know a whole is whatever's on the top is on the bottom. So 4 plus 8 eighths is also equal to 1 plus 1/8. So once I do that, now it's my number. 4. Let's add these fractions together. 8 plus 1 is 9/8. Okay? I know there's kind of a lot of steps there, guys. This is definitely a cake problem, so just stick with it, okay? What we did, let me tell you one more time, is why we have to do this is because this 1 is less than this 3. So we need to take some of this 5 and put it over here to this 1. We got to give it some. Give it some more numbers. Give it some more pieces so we can take away that 3. So we broke our number apart. We did 4 plus 1 plus 1/8. Then what we did was we did 4 plus 8/8. 8/8 is equal to 1. So that's that 1 plus 1/8 right there. Just brought that 1/8 down. So we just brought the 4 down, and then we added the 8/8 plus the 1/8, which equals 9/8. So let's look at step 2. Subtract the mixed number. So we know that 5 and 1/8 is also equal to 4 and 9/8. So up here, I could not subtract it. Down here, I can because 9 is more than 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. And let's put our 8 down. Both of them have 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. So you had to do this part right here so you could subtract it. If you don't do that, you can't subtract it. All right? We had to do it because this 1 right here was less than this 3. All right, let's go on to the next way we could do this problem, or a problem like this. So, rename both mixed numbers. Find the difference. 3 and 4/12 minus 1 and 6/12. So what they want us to do is rename both mixed number as a fraction greater than 1. Or we also can call that an improper fraction. So if you remember that little trick I taught you, 12 times 3 is 36 plus 4 is 40. All right, there's your first step. Second step is 12 times 1 is 12 plus 6 is 18. All right, so now there's our new fractions. They are fractions greater than 1, or we also can call them an improper fraction. Step 2, subtract the fractions greater than 1. So we have 40 twelfths minus 18 twelfths Now all you have to do is over here on my side of my paper, I'm going to do 40 minus 18. I'm going to have to cross that out. That becomes a 3. 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 40 minus 18 is 22 twelfths. And you could rename that as a mixed number. It would be, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to do it over here. So if I had 22 twelfths would equal, if I get 12 twelfths, I could take that out of there, right? Plus what? Plus 10 twelfths. 10 plus 12 equals 22. So we could change this to a 1 and 10 twelfths. You could also simplify this to be 1 and 5/6. There was a lot to do in that problem. But it's not too hard if you take it step by step and if you take it slowly. Alright, so we learned how to subtract mixed numbers by making them a fraction greater than 1, or we could call it an improper fraction right here. And then we changed it back to a mixed number. And we also learned how to do it by taking it and renaming the fraction greater than 1. Right here is what we did there, 4 and 9/8. And we also drew a model, used a model to help us. Is another way we did it. So those are all 3 good strategies you can use to help you with subtraction with fractions. Alright, so I hope you got a lot out of this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye, everyone.